Hey Panthers, we are going to move on to section 12.2 from your textbook, and we are now going to work on multi-step equations. And our first lesson here deals with combining like terms. So please make sure you have your note packet in front of you, and your pencil, and your calculator, and we will go through the examples. So as I told you in class, combining like terms is not a new lesson. You're not going to learn anything new today. But what it is a combination of combining like terms, which is a skill that we learned back in chapter 1, with the steps for solving two-step equations. So this is not on your paper, but, well, actually it is, sorry. There are two steps, again, that you need to follow. The first one that you're going to have to do before you solve your two-step equation is that you are going to need to combine the like terms. I'm going to show you an example of that in a second. Once you have your like terms combined, then you are going to follow the rules for two-step equations, which, if you remember, you do the inverse of adding and subtracting first, followed by the inverse of multiplying and dividing. So, combining like terms. Oops. I want to remind you what that looks like. Write this down, please. If you had 2n's plus 5 minus 1n minus 3, this is something that we looked back in chapter 1 with combining like terms. When you're combining like terms, what I want you to do is to maybe circle, or maybe you want to use highlighters or colors, shapes, whatever you want to do, but you need to go through your terms and find all the ones that have the same variable raised to the same power. So this first term here, which is 2n, our variable is n, and it's to the first power because it doesn't have any exponents, and I have to find all of the other n's. Remember, the key is when you go through and you start combining, you need to pay attention to the signs that are in front of the term, and we've been talking a lot about this in class. Again, pay attention to the signs in front of the term, which then they will indicate whether you're looking at a positive or a negative amount. So for this one, here are my n's. When I go to combine these, I have 2n's minus 1n, which is 1n, or you can just write n. And I also have a positive 5 and a negative 3. When I combine these, positive 5 and negative 3, I end up with 2. So this big algebraic expression combines together to get n plus 2. Now the only difference, again, this is a quick review. Today what you're going to see is an equation in which you would just go ahead and solve. Okay, so let's take a look at some problems. Number 1, we have 12 minus 7b plus 10b equals 18. Let's start combining our like terms. So here I have 12. Again, I'm only going to look on the left-hand side of my equation. We don't want to combine anything with the 18 because that's on the other side. So again, I'm going to combine everything on the side with my variable. So there's nothing else that can combine this. I'm going to rewrite my equation as 12. Then I do have some terms here that contain a b, so I'm going to take a look at those, again looking at the sign in front of the term. So here I have a negative 7b, here I have positive 10b's. If I have 7 negative b's and 10 positive b's, they combine for a positive 3b. Okay. and then equals 18. So step number 1 here, go ahead and combine your like terms. After you're done combining, Panthers, please, I want you to rewrite your two-step equation. And then from this point, you just go ahead and solve. Again, here's my term with my variable, so I'm going to save that for the end. I got to get rid of this 12. Looking in front of the 12, it's a positive 12, so I am going to subtract 12 from both sides, and I'm left with 3 times b equals 6. To get b alone, divide both sides by 3, and b ends up equaling 2. Please, please, please take your answers, plug them back into your original equations on your calculator, and make sure you have the right answer. There are no excuses why you should not have 100% on these assignments with equations if you are checking your work. So please take the extra 35 seconds and take your, if b is 2, go back on your calculator, type in 12 minus 7 times 2 plus 10 times 2. Those of you with the scientific calculators, again, your calculator will follow order of operations and you will get 18. For those of you who don't have the scientific calculator, make sure that you type in your multiplication problems first and then go back, make sure you do the order of operations on your own. Take a look at letter B. Again, I'm going to focus on the side that has my variable. I see some C, so I'm going to go ahead and circle all of my terms that have a C, again including the sign in front. So I have negative 30 C's and 5 positive C's. When I combine those, I'm left with a negative 25 C. And again, 13's just left here all on its own, nothing to combine it with, so I just go ahead and bring it down. So again, I want you to combine like terms first, and then please rewrite your new equation after you've combined. Now we can follow our two-step rules. I'm going to do the inverse of subtraction first here. So the inverse of subtracting 13 is adding 13. And Panthers, if I add it to one side, I must add it to the other. So my inverse operations cancel it out, and I'm still left with a negative 25C, which equals 300. So again, I don't have my answer yet because C is not alone. I need to, since C is being multiplied by negative 25, I need to divide by negative 25. Once again, both sides, and we find out that C equals negative 12. You're going to take your answer, negative 12, plug it back into the original equation, type in negative 30 times 12 minus 13 plus 5 times negative 12, and you should get negative 287. Panthers, please make sure you check. Letter C. Again, I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. I see I have some y's here. I'm going to include the sign in front. I have 8 y's and negative 2 y's. When I combine those, I end up with 6 y's plus 7 equals 49. We'll walk through the steps. I'm going to do the inverse of addition and subtraction first. So I'm going to get rid of this 7. If I do it to one side, I must do it to the other. I'm left with 6y equals 42. Y is being multiplied by 6, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is to divide by 6, and I'm left with y equals 7. Take a calculator, plug it back in, do 8 times 7 plus 7 minus 2 times 7, and you should get 49. Letter D. Draw your line. Again, I'm going to combine everything on the same side as my variable. I see I have some x's. There's a negative 5x, a negative 7x. If I have 5 negative x's and 7 negative x's, I have a total of negative 12 x's. I also this time have a positive 10 and a negative 15 that can be combined, If I have 10 positives and 15 negatives, I have a -5. Remember, Panthers, subtracting 5 is the same as adding a -5. So I'll leave that choice up to you, however you prefer to write it. And let's go. Here, x is being multiplied by -12. We're also subtracting 5 from it, so I'm going to do the inverse of subtraction first, which would be to add 5 to both sides. And I'm left with -12x equals 60. X is being multiplied by -12, so I need to now divide by -12. And we find that x equals -5. Take your answer, plug it back in, do -5 times -5 plus 10 minus 7 times -5 minus 15, and you'll get 55. Let's take a look at some story problems. Now, just as we talked yesterday about, or Friday, I should say, about the story problems, I want you to just continue with those same good habits. Read through your story problem. First thing I want you to focus on is the question at the end. So let's read this together. The math department ordered 8 packages of graph paper, and the science department ordered 12 packages of graph paper. If the combined cost was $118.60, what is the price of package of graph paper? Go back to your last sentence. What is the price of package of graph paper? So here is what we're trying to solve. We're trying to figure out the price. Now, Panthers, since we don't know the price, and that's what we're solving for, we're going to write a variable to represent the price of a package of graph paper. Let's go back to the problem and let's just try to understand it. So math department is ordering paper, science department is ordering the same type of paper with a combined cost of $118. So the math department is ordering 8 packages. Now, when you think about the cost of something, you would take the price. If you bought 1, you would take the price and multiply it by 1. If you bought 10 packages, you would take the price and multiply it by 10. The math department is ordering 8, so we are going to take 8 and multiply it by the price of 1 package of graph paper. That represents the math department paper. We are combining that, or adding that, to the price for the science department. The science department is ordering 12 packages, so they are going to take 12 and multiply it by the price of 1 package to get their cost. So, and then in the end, we know the total cost was $118.60. Now take a look at this, Panthers. 8p and 12p. They have the same variable. They can be combined. 8p's plus 12p's is 20p's. So I combine my like terms, set up my equation, and we actually end up with a one-step equation. Since we're solving for p is being multiplied by 20, we need to divide by 20. And if I divide one side by 20, I must divide the other. 118 and 60 hundredths divided by 20. Get your calculators. $5.93. Remember, what does P represent? The price. And what are our units? $. Dollars. Last one. I'm going to run out of time here, Panthers, but I will help you with this one. Actually, we'll probably need more time, but let's get started. In Super Bowl, what is that, 31? The total number of points scored was 56. I know the total. That's going to be equals 56. If the winning team, Green Bay Packers, outscored the losing team, New England Patriots, by 14 points, what was the final score for the game? What